fatal four-way for the IC title. I think a lot of people and their notions about too many multi-person matches, they were kind of silent after how great these matches were.
Well, as it turned out, multi-man and multi-person Mania saved WrestleMania this year.
It really did. This has every bit of a WrestleMania main event that you could possibly ask for from 40 years. This was fucking, I have no words on how great this fucking was. This was my match of the weekend, by far and away. I loved everything about this. Yeah, I actually, you like the women better?
I have the women above this one. Okay. I mean, the story here was obviously a better story. Yeah, this was a match. My match of the weekend for Mania was the winner. But this was a close number two. This was an outstanding movement.
Yeah, this was phenomenal. Main event. You can make one. I know a lot of people want the ladies on night two to close the show. They opened. Even Punk said I give it to Rhea, Bianca, and Io. I mean, this was on a show that was so fucking WrestleMania. This WrestleMania every weekend. This was just beautiful and it was amazing. Obviously, what we got at the end, Jason, was the whole idea about Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman didn't really get involved until he really needed to. He tried to end Punk and Cher, and finally got involved. He ended Punk and Cher, and then next thing you know, low blow to CM Punk. And Cher to Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns thinks he's got twice man back, even gets on his knees and just like he's kneeling at the altar of God. He's handing the chair to Roman Reigns, not Tribal Chief. And then Roman had an opportunity to bless Seth in the back, Shield style, and finally get some revenge on Seth Rollins for all those years. And Paul Heyman, he low blow Roman Reigns, and he enjoyed it a little.
He got all up in there. He got every bit of that.
He enjoyed it a little bit too much, man.
Roman's not going to be having any more kids. He's got enough. He's got a couple of sets of twins. I think that's going to be it after this.
So the turn on Punk,
the adult thing would be to help you. So
it was definitely one of the talking points in the narrative that a lot of us brought to the table, but we didn't really think about it actually happening. It was talked about as a possibility, in theory, what if, and then it actually was playing out right before our very eyes, and I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Like, Rollins doesn't need Heyman, and Heyman doesn't need Rollins, but the dynamic and the way that it just opens up the story now after what we saw on Monday, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I am fucking super excited about this. What was your initial reaction when you saw all this go down? Were you shocked to see it play out like most of us were after talking about it and kind of not really taking it to be a possibility? And what was your level of excitement?
I'm sure you'll come back when you want something.
I know you felt, yes, WrestleMania, I'm excited for night two now. Finally, they gave us something to sink our teeth in.
I thought it was great, and I can't say I was totally shocked by it, because I knew it was a possibility. It wasn't anything that I was advocating for, because I just didn't think it was necessary. But the more you think about it, and this is how I feel, Seth Rollins, character-wise, except for the stuff with Punk, because I feel like when he's in there toe-to-toe on the mic with Punk, when he is really serious and really angry, that's when he's been at his best. But a lot of the other stuff, to me, is just very uninteresting. And so this, all of a sudden, it adds a completely new layer to this character now, where now he's a heel, and he's aligned with Heyman. So it's kind of fresh, in a way. So I had no problem with it.
Come on, you two. The silence is getting unnerving.
Don't worry about it. We're focusing.
He went down kind of slow. It was about 34 years from the moment he was dropping to one knee and then delivering low blow. So I kind of telegraphed it. But outside of that, no, I thought it was well done. Rollins winning. I had him winning the match. I think that was the right move, I think. Especially given what they did. But they did this perfectly. And I feel Rollins was the one who should have gone over in the match. So I just like the way everything came off. I thought it was executed, flawlessly for what they were trying to do. Punk and Roman, who were at odds with each other and were pulling Paul Heyman in very polar opposite directions, were left laying at the end of the match, losers at WrestleMania. And that's partly their own fault, and their own selfish fault.
Well, now they got something to come.
They do, and that's what's going to unite them when we eventually see them come together as a tag team.
Roman was pinned by Rollins, which continues that narrative because Roman cannot beat Rollins to save his fucking life. He's the one guy that's been thrown in his side for most of his career. I like that. The aspect of Punk and Roman now, like you mentioned, teaming up and finding a common ground against a common enemy here in Rollins and now Heyman. And what we saw on Monday, I was hoping, before we get to Monday, I was hoping that whatever happened here would lead into night two. I got way ahead of myself because, it was a fucking slam dunk. If you know who fucking showed up for night two, it was a slam dunk. To have something really just mega happen, to really just make this an all-timer. And nothing fucking happened. And we got what we got on Monday. So we'll bypass night two and talk about Monday because the way Monday went off the air last night was probably more exciting than any part of what happened at WrestleMania, in my opinion.
Well, it was more exciting than the ending of night two, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason, I think a lot of people are excited about this because of the possibilities that this now presents. Ron Breaker showed up, and he has aligned himself after many discussions with several people who do what we do. We've seen the interactions with Ron Breaker and Paul Heyman. It was once on NXT. It was another one on SmackDown in 2024, February 2024, when he first got drafted. They've had interactions, and we know Paul Heyman's had his eye on Ron Breaker. We didn't know when or if that was going to happen, but it finally revealed itself last night. He speared Roman. He speared Punk. They lined Ron Breaker up with Rollins and Heyman in this new unofficial group. They don't have a name. New Dangerous Alliance, whatever it may be. New Dangerous Alliance. We don't know if that's going to be the name of it or if it's going to be
the Heyman Herald.
Something.
That's definitely.
More members are being moved down. The speculation is that funny. Who's the third man? Is going to be a third man? Oh God. So
now you can use your third man.
Yes, I do think that this is not it though. I think there will be more people added. And before we get into that discussion, the possibility is that this presents Jason now. Rollins and Reigns continuing their feud.
Nearly there now.
Finally.
Now you break it to the mix. We get Punk working with somebody like Ron Breaker. We get Ron Breaker working with somebody like Roman Reigns, spear versus spear. What I believe will be one of the co-main events of Backlash will be Ron Breaker and Seth Rollins versus CM Punk and Roman Reigns. That's a possibility for a tag team match. And then obviously you got the idea of more members being added. Who's going to stick up for?
That's a sight no man should ever see. Thanks for that.
So just based on that, the ending that we got last night, how excited were you about the possibilities where this one?
Very excited. And very excited for Ron Breaker to move to that next level. That's why he lost the title on WrestleMania Sunday. You know, he was the Intercontinental Champion. He didn't take the losing fall. They had to get that title off of him to allow him to ascend to this next level where now they're going all the way with him. You know, he's in a main event position right now. And this is a guy that a lot of people for years, a lot of fans, have been talking about him as a WrestleMania main eventer within the next 3 or 4 years. But you can see it. You know, he's a special performer. And he's very fast. They talk about how many miles per hour he hits the ropes and some of the spears. I mean, honestly, just this year alone, we're only a few months into the year, he has delivered 2 of the best spears on television that I've ever seen. It happened in the last 3 weeks. Well, no. Well, one of them was I Show Speed at the Royal Rumble. Oh yeah, I was talking about the one on Carlito and the one at Mania. Well, I was talking the I Show Speed one and the one on Carlito a few weeks ago. To me, those are 2 of the best ones I've ever seen. And Goldberg to me is still the king when it comes to that. But he's got that explosiveness. He's fun to watch. So I'm excited to see him kind of, you know, be focused on in a major way. And I think rubbing shoulders with people like Heyman and Rollins is going to benefit him in the same way that Orton and Batista benefited when they were in Evolution. I think this will be the same thing for his career. Yeah, 100% agree. This is very exciting to me. And the aspect of adding new members. One thing I want to mention before we talk about potential new members here, if there will be new members. WWE conveniently, Jason, I don't know if we talked about this before you even noticed it. They conveniently put a plug into the show last night for Survivor Series at Petco Park. Survivor Series is taking place in November, Thanksgiving weekend. And Petco Park is in the air. There's no roof. And Survivor Series is going to take place there in November. Now, which, by the way, I'm not in there, but I heard that Petco was one of the nicest ballparks of all of them. They did not. They showed clips of Survivor Series in the last 3 years. We've had 4 games. Tagline in the advertisement. It just said Survivor Series San Diego. Now, they didn't put the 4 games logo in there, but I did notice after the show is over, if you look at the Survivor Series logo, it's got the cage like fencing behind the lettering. So that is in there. Well, you know, you and I have discussed this vehemently that they don't need to do the gimmick every year. I think when this year all would be beneficial and then just go back to a 4-on-4 or 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination. I think that would be just as good. We don't need to do it. But knowing them, they'll probably end up doing it. So that's one thing I noticed. So they did that because of what's happening. This is going to be the new war in WWE. The bloodline is finished. The Judgment Day is basically on the arguing over the Intercontinental Championship. There's really no Saturday Night Feud. The White Six isn't on television. The Final Testament is disbanded. There's no real group in the focus. It's really at the focus of Paul Heyman's probably going to end up being that, and then you're going to get a conglomeration of babyface on and Reigns, whoever else wants to stick up the baby faces. But as far as the discussion goes for moving to Paul Heyman, if there are names that people were bringing up to me last night, mine, right off the top of my head, it is Drew McIntyre. Now, SmackDown, they have to respect to get him over Raw again, because maybe they don't really give a shit, but McIntyre's on SmackDown, right now this week is operating on Raw, and to get him from one show to the next, it's got to be a way. So that's one name. We got to have that happen. I think he can fit like a glove. Number 2, maybe he uses his Samoan connection. Paul Heyman against Samoan and the group, maybe Jeff Cobb. If not Jeff Cobb, like
Theory was one of Paul Heyman's chosen 6 when pandemic roles were operating at a performance center, and he was pushing guys like Austin Theory, and wasn't there. He was like, it's like, shit. When he was the executive director of Monday Night Raw, and Vince said, "I'm not pushing this fuck. You guys get the fuck out of here, man. Hey, you guys seen enough? Go away." And then he gave Bruce the position. Could you see Austin Theory realistically being fit into this group? Because a lot of people have been lobbying for him to get that fuck.
It would benefit him. It's so bad because he's got talent, but he's just been so marginalized for so long that it's hard for me to even get excited about it. But I mean, it would definitely be something that would help revive his career. It would give him the best shot to be, I think, what they made once upon a time envisioned him being. It's just he's been so far down the card. It's hard for me to see it happening. I wouldn't mind it, but I also wouldn't mind somebody from NXT. Someone like a Trick Williams or someone. I think would also benefit from being, in a position like that, working with a Heyman, working with a Rollins. So to me, I would be okay with that too. There aren't too many names from the men's side in NXT that I feel like there's not a lot of options there. I mean, the women's roster down there is a lot stronger than the men's roster right now. And I don't really think so.
Beautiful.
Like, needs to be in a group like
I
this.
remember once.
Like a Trick, I could see
Brother,
him
look
being
out.
somebody who would benefit.
Miss me?
Run, boy! Cross the bridge!
Would be my first choice, but I
I'm a god too! I can do this! Get off him!
Really?
That's enough for me, dog.
Walter, let him go. Take me instead. I'll do whatever you...
Yeah, this is very exciting.
Time, I thought I needed you.
This is very exciting.
Turns out
the boys I would say, Jason.
No! You broke the gate! That was the only way to Jotunheim!
stupid son of a bitch.
Get out of here, boy.
I don't know where it ranks. The way I describe it was,
By
we
all
had
means,
very
Junior,
big
run
show
away.
on
Let
Saturday.
Daddy
We
do
had
all
an
the
excellent
heavy
main event.
lifting for
And
you.
then we had an excellent show on Sunday.
Let's go!
Calm down, boy. You are not ready for this.
I do think that the main event that we got on night 2 was the first WrestleMania.
And here I thought my family was fucked up. Oh, your father is right, brother. You are far from ready. Now would you be so kind as to hold this for me? Thank you.
But that night you made that very wrong. I still remember that being good at all. And this is that same
Don't you know when to give up?
Stay away from my son!
I mean, this was my favorite match of WrestleMania 99. And I love David. He's been out there. Everything about just everything's about
You won't stop me!
What's the chemistry? Watching these three people.
I will break you!
The heel is not accurate to play with this. But it's just beat up all three women.
Die!
And they have some familiarity. And it just means I feel like the fans were super invested in it. And then I love the way they did that finish too. You have the Sky King, social cameras, you can see her. And she flew right through it.
Yeah, I was fucking telling you. Look, I don't remember a lot of it, but I said it's not the best, as I will always
Talk about opening match for WrestleMania. Some people might talk about Eddie and Ray. I didn't forget their best matches. Billy Corgan and people who WrestleMania Bryan and WrestleMania 30. But there are some matches like that we stand out. This is definitely in the conversation. Show in a hot way. Really get people fired up in your opening match. This to me a classic. Like, not about closing the opening and try to top that.
Who's activated the bridge? Hey, I asked you a question!
They said he's going on towards Slayer.
Locked in!
And when the bridge opens, the full weight of Asgard will come crashing down on you.
It's over. So be it. No! Listen to me!
Let me out!
Let go of it now, I will kill him. You know I will. What did you do?
Boy,
I'm here!
stay still.
He tweeted a photo of himself with a peace sign, maybe racing on the ground. He said, still boring working soon.
Are you gonna help me?
Making a thing that went viral almost instantaneously. I think last I don't know when it was probably 2 days ago.
You will listen to me and not speak a word.
Honestly, this was
I
fun.
am your father, and you, boy, are not yourself.
He stays on
You are too quick to temper. You are rash, insubordinate, and out of control. This will not stand. Honor your mother and abandon this path you have chosen. This discussion is far from over.
Well, why not McIntyre and Cody? With McIntyre winning, Cody just goes on this
Never
losing
forget
streak.
that.
Ever since he lost at WrestleMania, he just can't seem to get back to his winning ways. And then maybe over the summer or whatever, maybe Cody wins, Money in the Bank or something. I mean, that's one possible direction. I mean, you don't have to win Money in the Bank, but do they do like a losing streak thing with Cody, or do we just not see Cody for a while?
I don't know, it's tough. You want to keep him strong, so I don't think making him lose McIntyre would benefit greatly. That's what I'm about right now.
Right, but going to want Cody gone for too long. But there's enough time where he's not going to get his rematch until at least SummerSlam.
Wow,
And they
it's
even write
cold.
that as a Survivor Series.
This
show,
is hell?
it's a stadium show.
Not
But
just hell.
if he's not going to get a
Worst
title
place in
rematch
hell
until
you could have put
SummerSlam,
us.
I mean, he can lose a few matches. They can
I
tell
see a
that story
ship.
if they want to.
Get us there. It only takes us halfway to Tyr's temple, but at least it gets us far from here.
For 1,000 mortal lifetimes, the Bridgekeeper kept the living out of this place. But now that you've ripped his heart out, here we are. Funny how it all comes around.
We don't know if WWE is going to King of the Ring and then do
Boy.
That wasn't me.
Great 10 minutes.
It was all about Dominic Mysterio here, and the reaction that Dominic Mysterio got legitimately blew me away because I didn't really expect that. And one of the best things Jason said to wrestling and in pro wrestling like we do, to see someone who get treated in pro and watch their story just kind of take shape on television with all the matches over a period of time. I know he's been in the Justin Day and more of a, you know, comedy character.
It could just be personally, I don't think that same reaction. It was unexpected, but I've been saying on my shows, I said, whoever fans, we've seen different examples. We've seen it beyond. Why are some of these baby faces being booed, and then some of these heels are being cheered? Look at Becky Lynch last night, right? She beat up Lyra Valkyria, and then all of a sudden people are chanting one more time. And we've seen examples of this before. So he's one of those, you know, crowd very big heel, but he felt like a superstar. He got hurt. When they were done showing replays after the finish, he ran back to the ring, and he posed. You would think he was one of the biggest baby faces in the company, and yet this is the guy who's getting
But we're God.
so much heat that you can hardly hear him
You can
sometimes
do
on TV.
whatever
But it was just, it was so perfect.
Turn
Like,
away,
how
boy.
you know, that's why I said Dom needs to go over. He needs to win the title, and he needs to steal the pin from Finn Balor. And that's exactly how it played out. It feeds into this story, this Judgment Day story. The tension that's been building between him and Balor for months in advance of
Couldn't
that
have
story.
done
Do not
So
dwell
I
on
was
those
very
thoughts.
happy to see him win.
Not
The
here.
reaction was unexpected, but
that.
you know, I kind of got a chuckle.
We must keep
when he
moving.
mask on as he was making his entrance.
Yeah.
I think somebody said he was wearing Rey Mysterio's senior mask. It looked like it, yeah. And he was trying to pull it off, and he had some trouble, and Michael Cole made fun of him for it. But you see, he had a short haircut, he's kind of like a timid kid, and you see him now with the long hair and the mullet, and, you know, just, and Liv Morgan. Well, that doesn't hurt. So yeah, Liv Morgan, it's been fun. You know, it's been fun to see him grow from what he was to what he is now. And I think this is great. I think that he was the right choice to win this championship, and hopefully we'll have a lengthy run with it too, because I think he can do fun things with it.
Absolutely the right decision. Ron Breaker now moves on to the main event. He didn't need that title anymore. Not like, I mean, he did okay with it, but he didn't do anywhere close to what we expected. But Ron Breaker is going to shine.
What was that?
Not just the old and sick come to Helheim, so do the criminals. Hell must not draw a distinction between us and those whom these visions are meant to torture.
How do we stop it?
Escape hell as soon as possible.
I'm not gonna let it bother me. Like you said, Manir, it was just an illusion. That wasn't me.
No. But it is who you have become of late.
Look, I know I got us in here, but I'll get us out. Whoever I am.
I will get us out. You will follow orders.
But maybe that's not who I am.
It had better be. Now let me focus.
These are like metal. Yeah, they're made of like metal. And so I wasn't sure if it was going to break, but I guess it's Breaker, so it's kind of his name. Yeah, he breaks.
I don't mean to hurry you, but faster?
Let me think.
all this supposed to go up, thank God that did not happen. We landed on someone who I thought just died. He's just very fan friendly. And he showed up and he was an open challenge here. Again,
go viral music. Someone does this during the money, and now he gets to look out. He's got the teenage and so what a moment for him, you know. And we met him before, like, oh, like he's like the guy. I don't hear anything negative said about him. So it was very. I wasn't expecting it. So it caught me off guard when I heard the music. But when he walked out there, I was like, man, you know what? That's cool.
Hey, it was fucking cool. And that guitar solo. I mean, that's just a great fucking moment. It's a great moment. The match lasted 3 minutes. The premise of this was Randy Orton needed someone to beat. Whether it was 3 minutes or fucking 33 minutes, it doesn't matter. He needed to win because the direction for Randy Orton was John Cena and the world title. And Backlash in St. Louis. So they got that. Joe went for 3 minutes. But in the 3 minutes, Jason, I mean, we talk about maximizing minutes. Maximizing minutes. If you're in the ring, maximize the time that you got out there. Joe Hendry got shit. He did pose. He did his all-in slam. He tried for his finishing move. And in 3 minutes, he did the pose. And then all of a sudden, a hot moment that will probably live in for the next 30 years on social media. Randy Orton comes out of nowhere while Joe Hendry's posing in front of the camera to do the close-up, and he gets RKO'd into the blip. So it's like, people are looking at this. They bury Joe Hendry. TNA champion was there. It's happened to do this to the world champion. And all these different excuses. On social media. You take anyone in that fucking locker room, whether it's Dolph Ziggler, Nick Divitt, Ali, you take Sami Callihan, you ex-Mike Santana, which go out there for 3 minutes and had WrestleMania for Randy Orton versus 2,000 people. Every single fucking person in the locker room would have been Joe Hendry in that moment. Like, TNA got worldwide recognition fucking 1,000 times over compared to what they do in 52 weeks in 1 calendar year on Impact, on Access Television. Their world champion was showcased in front of the world's largest wrestling audience all year. And he got how many moments out of that match? 2, 3 from 3 minutes? Bro, this was a huge fucking success that accomplished Randy Orton winning over someone who absolutely went viral because of it and made their company bigger than it was before they came in here.
Well, I mean, it's perfect too, because that's, you know, he went viral, like I said, he went viral with his music, and that's kind of what really launched him in the first place. And you'll notice when the match is over, the first thing he's doing is because I just wrestled Randy Orton. So, you know that that probably has him laying there looking up the lights. I will say this, though, so I agree with you, but I didn't have an issue with his, you know, Barry would have been him. Now, I thought they were going to do this. Yes. I thought as soon as the bell rings, he's going to drop him with an RKO, and that would have been a burial. And they didn't do that. But what I did say was, man, they didn't have to do it where he So it was bad enough, you know, he took the first one, and then Randy helps him up, and he drops him the second one.
That's no right, Rich.
Which I thought was hilarious.
I can't smell it. I can't even feel the temperature.
But yeah, he hit the second RKO, and he stole the guy's
Feasting, drinking,
that to me was like, all right, do we need to, you know, rub some salt in there? Probably not.
Pain
Was
again.
a burial.
Death has no power over you now. You would rather die?
He set the moment of his career. And so I really don't see, you know, what the big issue was here. Did you really expect Randy Orton to go in there and have a competitive 12-minute back and forth match against Joe Hendry, someone who doesn't work for WWE? Evidently, from I think it might have been Fightful, said that this was a big good because there was a plan in place, I guess, for him to appear on Raw when they were over in his home country during the European tour. And the plan was for him to wrestle The Miz in his home country and lose. Now you tell me, which is better? Going to WrestleMania and wrestling Randy Orton, or losing to The Miz in a match on Raw in your home country? Not even love the choice. And there's talk that the person who was, you know, running TNA at the time, he may have worked for Randy, but if he was the one who kickstarted the idea and said no, he's since been fired now, right for this up. Yeah, I don't know if that's the only reason why he was fired, but like, that probably would have been a fireable offense, you know, in their eyes. It's like, I could just say no. You know what? It was the right call. Sending Hendry out there in his home country.
Come on!
Lose to The Miz. I'm in his corner on that. That would have been a terrible idea. So, as a big move for that, I guess they went with him here. So it all worked out in the end. And I'm happy for him. But it also took away the idea that if it was Rusev or somebody like that, if you were bringing into the company, it spared them from loss. Because Randy Orton really couldn't lose. He was going into Backlash to wrestle for the WWE Championship. Whoever it was going to be, he had to win.
You don't send Rusev out there in his first match and then lose after 5 years. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, you don't want to. I would not have been as, upset with that as if they would have sent like a Alistair Black out there to lose. I just feel like his ceiling is a little bit high.
Joe Hendry said this on Busted Open. I believe this was today. He said, "My job is TNA champion, and what defines this business and getting as many eyeballs on TNA wrestling as possible."
What you did to me!
Freya is his mother. Why did you keep this from us, Head?
Would you believe it slipped my mind?
I would not.
I'm at a loss. I assure you have no reason to keep such a thing a secret.
There's the boat. We will speak more of this soon.
So Chad, and fans who may be watching it that don't like what we do, we don't like Joe Hendry. If Joe Hendry's okay, why aren't you okay? Why are you so upset and losing sleep when this man is just fucking ecstatic about what just happened in this match? I don't get it.
It is true, by the way, John Cena went in there and he lost in 3 minutes to the Undertaker. I forgot King James says in the burial of we would permit Natural Brock Lesnar. I mean, people throw that word around way too easily. That's very this
Much to do after I kill you.
if I had to say what was the end,
Must hurry.
Probably was very simple. Probably Punk and Heyman coming out together one last time. I figured that was probably going to be the last time we saw them, so.
Yeah, I think, as far as entrances go, I would say, I'm going to go with Slayer, I guess. I know Barry King, or I love Reigns, but you came out dressed as, Batman. That's right.
So, did you not like the, Tiffany Barbie and Box? No, not a Barbie yet.
No. You're not sure.
Why would you ask me that?
I don't know. You asked me. So I got to return the question.
What vibe do I give off to you that I would be a Barbie guy? Are you kidding me? I grew up on He-Man and Thundercats. Who are you talking to? That's why I asked the question.
Oh, man. What happened? The answer was a one-night match. I gotta read this out. I don't know if this is right a little slow. I just released Alberto Del Rio.
Let's see.
Let's look it up.
I'm looking it up right now. Not seeing anything.
Come on, man. Yeah, you can't troll. You can't troll.
Well, I am seeing something very interesting here. Master P is going to be on Dynamite this morning.
Really?
Okay.
There's Dynamite tomorrow.
New Orleans, I believe. I believe it might be. Let me see.
Sources? I don't know. Logan Paul, AJ Styles. Well, Jason's going out. I'll continue the show here. The match wasn't bad. And let's say that out front. The match was not bad. I just felt like the crowd was very deflated at this point. I don't know what had happened. I'm going to attribute it to it being that everybody loves AJ. They don't like Logan Paul. So it's either one or two things. One, they didn't really react because they don't care about Logan Paul in numbers. Or number two, the match didn't really have any story whatsoever coming into it, and the fans just didn't react because there was no story. They reacted more to Karrion Kross being at the end of the match when he wanted to hand the knuckles to AJ. But the overall match, it didn't really resonate with the audience. The 18 minutes, it wasn't bad, but nobody felt anything, no emotion.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, if you look at the build, they had a very basic build. I mean, what was the build to this match? AJ Styles calls out Logan Paul. 3 weeks later, Logan Paul calls out AJ Styles. That was it.
Yeah. Jason's in combos.
There wasn't much to it. There was more interaction, felt like, between AJ AJ and Karrion Kross wasn't even in the match. I mean, he appeared during the match. He got a great reaction when they showed him, but you know, we got more interactions between those two, and Karrion wasn't even officially a part of the match. So I'm disappointed in that. AJ, I still feel like AJ, for all the time he's been there, which is almost a decade now, he doesn't really have a lot of. He's like John Cena in that regard. He doesn't have a lot of really classic WrestleMania matches to his resume. The best WrestleMania match he ever had by the match with Shane McMahon. Unfortunately, yes. I mean, you would think that he would have been able to put together, you know, I mean, if you want to count the Boneyard, I did love the Boneyard match, but I'm talking more like in ring. I'm talking about cinematic. And I was hoping this would be it, because Logan, you know, in the ring, he's very athletic, and I thought maybe their styles, you know, would mesh. And it was just like, yeah, it was fine. It wasn't a bad match, but crowd didn't really seem to care too much about it. I didn't really care too much about it. It was just kind of there. You know, it was a match.
It was certainly a match, not bad, but nothing was coming into it. I think the video package that they highlighted before this match is more than what they actually said on television. So we got Logan Paul beating AJ Styles here, and he's going to continue his feud with Karrion Kross. Jason, what do you think of the Kross, Sam Roberts, and Megan Morant sit down on the Raw recap? I thought what Karrion Kross did, whether it was a shoot, work shoot, whatever it may be, I thought that was probably the best piece of business that he did with WWE logo attached to it.
Yeah, it was great, and I'm really happy to finally. It feels like they're actually doing something with it. I've never felt like they were actually had a story worth investing in with him. And now, you know, after what we saw on Raw last night, where they had that little interaction, and AJ's like, the guy you want me to be, when I looked a year ago there, I didn't like that guy. I hate that guy. Because you want to do alone, you deal with it yourself. And then he goes, maybe I will. And so now we're faced with possibly a baby face.
You know what I said? I told Bird now when I text message, I said, I took our lease on my mother off Mother's Day, but guess what? She don't talk good about me for 2 weeks. I said she might be a week. You said, I'm talking about why?
And how much of it is just people genuinely starting to get behind his character, what he's doing.
Did you go to Brittany till Happy Mother's Day?
Actually do something. Because he's been around for so long, and it just...
Go ahead, call it you fucking
you know, with his character. Now we're seeing a side of it. It's not
just... Did you ever show Mama Happy Mother's Day?
We got early on.
Or Miss Bernie?
And I always said, like, if we get a closer version of Karrion Kross as the one
goddamn, man. You don't fucking think.
That could be the key. And I feel like...
Well, you know what? You know what you say? Y'all motherfuckers ain't coming to my motherfucking birthday. Let me tell you about what happened today, T-Right.
You can tell me.
Let me tell you what happened today, right? Let me tell you about this. This shit's crazy. Hey. Let me tell you what happened, right? So, I called out Lisa first, and I looked out for the bitch with the kid, even though I shouldn't have gave her ass nothing for her slick ass mouth, right? Alright. I told out Lisa, you come with us. Then I called my mom. My papa ain't want to go. I said,
your mom ain't go?
Yeah, she went. I said, I told her I made her drinking so much. She had to go out and pay for it. But I made her go. She had already cooked.
And that usually
makes the long story short, right? Why the fuck she want to go champion, though?
Oh, you can't do with you.
Listen what I just said, Wait, today is Mother's Day. What the fuck is he coming for? You know how Lisa don't like... Listen. You know how Lisa don't like the nigga like that.
She did it on purpose, then. She did it on purpose, huh?
Yeah, it's her mom. You fucking knew. Man, and Lisa were just arguing about champ. Why would you put them in the same car together? How the fuck was that sound, Angelo? That's like putting Angelo and Lisa in the car going to Philly. Lisa don't fuck with Angelo like Angelo don't fuck with her like that. Why would he put them in the back seat together? I told him, I said, yo, when I walk out the car, I said, yo, I ain't gonna lie, bro, you ain't supposed to be here. So now I'm going on my fucking, yo, you already in the car. I said, yo, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't see that for nobody. But, this Mother's Day, you ain't supposed to be in this shit.
And you doing that?
Yeah, I got around with him. This Mother's Day.
What do you think?
He ain't getting mad. He went, but what I'm saying, he said, oh, no, your mother told me to jump in the car. Nigga. You
just told me.
What?
Yeah.
I like this. The bill was only $120.
No, but I'm just saying, you just told me, can you get me something to your Mother's Day? That's just told.
No, yo, I'm like, yo, you know, at least you don't fuck with you like that. I'm doing something nice for her. Why you even gonna come around with this crazy ass? For real.
That's what I was
What the
saying.
fuck you jump in the car? I didn't say that, Halo. What the fuck told you jump in the car, yo? Fuck you doing jumping in the car? I said it.
You were happy to get something free.
What?
Well, I mean, it sounds like it was something.
Got him some chicken wings, some fries, couple sodas.
So it wasn't like they
He ate his field, didn't he?
Oh, at least say some ribs.
Becky coming out and making her
But my name was,
take none
I
home.
took them to the beach bar. I took them to a bar that was on the beach.
I feel bad for family that
They was like,
show me
"Fuck,
here.
that's what you come on the restaurant." No, what's the beach bar?
And went to
It's like something that you can sit outside at.
Yeah.
I text Hound. I said, "Hound, you got a spot?" He said, "Oh yeah." I said, "Hound, they got a lot of snow bunnies here." He said, "When we going?" Then my mom was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, they took out on in front of the house.
I said, "They doing this thing, fucking alright." She still fuck with that old head.
So I don't know
What are you gonna do about it?
last night they gave some, interesting story and so she maybe
Man, she a fucking freak.
So
My daughter got rid of that dude.
I would imagine that
Let me tell you something.
He had a 60-year motherfucker dude my age and
You
shit.
know what? She probably got tired of getting fucked over. This old head nigga, he probably helping with the bills.
Yeah,
And she probably like, you know what? He don't want to fuck that long.
that's my daughter's shit. You know, we was together and shit. The bills and we had some real shit. And we ain't even the same room.
No. Listen, go back. If you think about it, right? Okay, he paying bills, and he's doing right for the kids, and he not slutting out.
Yeah.
He only fucking for probably for 5 minutes. He's the one that say he got a young
Get his
girl.
dicks up every few weeks and shit. Let her go out and do what the fuck she wanna do. Get the fuck out of my face, bitch.
I wrote back there
Bring your ass home.
home.
Bring your ass home with a decent time.
You said they was shooting at Dave house?
No, I'm doing Hines.
That same Hans down there had 10 up.
Yeah, they had 10 up.
Hans was cooking.
No, what's his name?
Teresa?
No, you crossed the street.
Oh, the boy Q.
Yeah, Q, yeah.
Hans Griffin. Cheap motherfucker.
Not entirely sure,
She
but
said,
the
yeah, you
feel
put
of it.
crazy on.
She will do.
Hey, little son, nigga, it ain't your motherfucking day. You know who that is. You know how I told you ass up in this like, so you know what I was trying to say? Because my mama didn't want to go right. My mama was good. I tried to say, get you back. Oh, I can't go get the street. My mama ain't that. At least go. I tried to say, I better go.
Yeah, she wanted to take phone with her.
Where could it game?
No girl.
Where could it game?
Where they want to come?
I'm saying, like, hey. I said, where could it game? Because it was a beach
You
ball.
have done enough.
Where could it game? The spirit don't eat everything. You gotta remember that.
Yeah, oh yeah, shit,
She don't eat everything.
vegetarian and shit.
And that, and at least don't like to take her everywhere. Because everywhere, most shit got meat in it. Chicken nugget. I said she eat chicken nugget, motherfucker. Damn, I just wanna watch a kid don't eat meat. That ain't gonna work.
Yeah, shit.
How the fuck you gonna feed it? If one of your grandkids say, Grandpa, I don't eat meat, what the fuck you gonna feed them? Eggs all day?
Sometimes them eat shit.
Oh, what you say? Check this out.
Every man for their goddamn self.
You get hungry enough, you'll eat that shit.
Every man for their motherfucking self.
You get hungry enough, I bet you want that piece of chicken. I got something for that fried chicken and rice. I don't like that.
Just bear in mind this boat can only take us part of the road. Tyr's temple is near the top of a tremendous waterfall, which, sadly, we are breaching. That means even if we get there intact, we still need to sail up a waterfall somehow.
Vanir built a parachute that never works, and it can fly.
Peacebluff, yeah, because it was designed to fly. This was not.
Nevertheless, this is the boat we have.
And perhaps the biggest iceberg I've ever seen.
At least the fire's making you. What now?
And he knocks this woman back, and he jumps off, and like he gets into the ring or whatever, and Nick Khan flies over there, and he's talking to this lady, and we'll see what happens, man. Meltzer then says, hey, Nick Khan is a smooth operator. Alvarez says he is. I heard they're nervous about this. So, yes, like Jason said, Nick Khan was over there like Batman, but, you know, Jason, what would you do in that case, Jason? If you were not back, I said this
I'm
so much.
trying not to be impatient.
Let your father think.
This lady was, or would you wait for a couple Steve Walters, maybe cheers and salute Steve Austin, maybe some autographs in the field?
It depends how seriously I was hurt. I mean, if I was really hurt, I'd be fucking pissed.
You gotta
Stop it?
Give your father room.
Just watch.
That's all you gotta do. That's it. You know what my favorite part of this was? Wasn't this? He gets in the ring to announce the attendance. And I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but like, on night one, they announced this sold-out crowd of 61,000 change. Right? Sold out, they said. And then that was Shawn Michaels' opinion. And Austin comes out of night
Pulling the
two.
sales down?
We're sold out tonight with
But how are they gonna test the
61,000
win?
change. And I'm like, the math isn't mathing here because we have to stay done for 12 nights. Almost soon. Apparently it was sold out both nights even though the attendance was.
We're floating! The heat from the fire! We're actually floating!
Did they open more seating? That's the only thing that would make sense. If they opened either stage seating that wasn't there on night one, or if they opened that more suites. And they were counting that, was it 2,000? 2,000 higher. But
Not for long.
even the
Stay with the
sold
boat.
out number from night one, I'm not sure if they were necessarily sold out. We all know, you know, they would announce that anyway. And then they can announce it to 5,000 or something like that. That's, he walked towards the ring. He was not doing it, right? Which was good because he was breaking in ring, so probably better for him to be walking.
Yeah, just to give you guys an idea, this is reported by WrestleTix. WrestleTix that the tickets distributed for WrestleMania was 60,212, so they had 40,000 tickets before the show started. I'm gonna say no. Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, they budged it up. So this is
I said stay on the boat.
although with Vince, I think it was even worse. Vince would exaggerate by like 10 to 15,000. Yes, that would be it was like you have like legit 65,000 people in the building, which is impressive enough. And then they would announce like 78,000, 81,000.
So yeah, Steve Austin, hopefully there's no legal action there. I mean, it was an accident. It is what it is. But that's the news coming out of Steve Austin's ATV accident. And then the main event, we got Cody Rhodes, as you guys know, defending WWE Championship. John Cena on November 17. This match, you know, just because I am who I am, everybody knows me. This match was fucking we've seen John Cena is going back to the Ultimate match. Not good. Rumble in the Chamber. Chamber was fun. It didn't work in time, man. It didn't work in time. 45 minutes. John Cena Cody tried to start out. That was fucking terrible.
I didn't like it. They started slow, and I assumed they were building. It's like, okay, they're starting slow, and then they ended slow. It was just slow. It was a very basic match because frankly, I think that's the speed that Cena can go at it. And it's Cena retiring. He said that said he made a promise to himself that when he loses a step, he's done. He says, when you go in 2015, you compare that John Cena to John Cena today. I've lost a step. And he worked pretty ridiculous schedule, you know, and when he was on top. So he just was not able to go out there and have the kind of matches he was having 10 years ago. And you're not going to get that. So I was come down to Louis in the ring with, but
Ship's stuck on this bridge over here.
he's a heel. heel and yeah, like it's supposed to be. That's the like. Think how brainwashed you need to be like the company has convinced some of these people that because John Cena is the heel and he's saying that he's going to ruin professional wrestling. And by the way, he's talking about the championship. He's going to take the title and go home with it. But they have now manufactured this excuse in their head that every time he goes out there and does anything that's terrible, anytime he goes out there and has a bad match, it's on purpose. It's supposed to be that way. Like, how delusional do you need to be to believe that? Like, no, that's not how this works. And if that is, by the way, if that was the case, that we're going to have a year of John Cena intentionally going out there and having terrible, shitty, boring matches, okay? That is a terrible idea. Creatively, that's all I've ever heard. Travis Scott came out there and did this match and did what he did. I got the same thing. That's exactly what he wanted. He told you he was going to ruin wrestling. Like, there's a difference between ruining wrestling as a character and creative writing. What are you getting here? We're just bad matches. So, yeah, look, he did what he could. We ended up getting more attitude adjustment by the time this was over. And before I remember like one match. It's a classic. Yeah. I always love when they tell you it's a classic when you're watching it. So like people just sort of dictate that on their own. Yeah, as a match, especially as a WrestleMania main event, when you consider the ones that we've had in recent years, it was a disappointment. It was not at the level of those matches. And no, it had nothing to do with him being heel. He was working a certain skill because he is a heel now. But the match itself was boring. It felt like Cody had to break himself down, to his level and work the kind of match that Cena wanted to work, could work. And then when we got to what we got to at the end, it just
this thing's stuck on this bridge over here.
Yeah, Effie in the chat, it's so much funnier when someone says this terrible mindset out loud. And listen, I mean, this is exactly what she does not deal with on a daily basis. This is what we heard all weekend. Doesn't it sound completely preposterous? Like, it's supposed to be a bad match. She's supposed to be ruining wrestling. Like, boy, that's really exciting for the rest of this entire year that he's promised us. He's going to go out there with Randy Orton and CM Punk and all these people and stick out the fucking joint every single month. Like, first, A, that's not what's going on here. B, if it is, then, you know what, this gimmick sucks. Travis Scott, he comes out and this was just, I don't know what the fuck I was watching, what dimension I was in. Travis Scott comes out through his theme music. He took his time, Jason, and I swear to God, man, it felt like 5 fucking hours before he got to the ring. Like, he's out there running the hardcore replica, tireless fucking taking it. What the fuck is this guy? You would think that someone legitimately that plays a major part in this storyline would be out there relishing in the moment that he's in front of 60,000 people. Then we get Travis Scott out there, and he walks to the ring after 5 minutes, and the referee's down at this point. Rhodes calls Scott into the ring, so he finally gets into the ring. He leapt over the rope, which looked impressive. That he could do that. Oh, yeah, he gave him some credit. He faced off with Rhodes. Scott tried to slap Cody Rhodes again, but Rhodes blocked it and gave him a cross. Now stop there. After what Travis Scott did to Cody Rhodes in the Elimination Chamber, was this the payoff? Was this the receipt that you might expect from Cody Rhodes and Travis? I mean, did anybody honestly expect that Cody was gonna, give him a receipt and, pop him in the head and in the mouth for real? Like, some guys. Cody's not gonna do that though. So I mean, the fact that Cody didn't go out there and give him a black eye, like, no, I'm not surprised by that. Was this proportional to what Travis Scott did to him? Of course not. Of course not. So that was the quote-unquote receipt. Who knows if he has to maybe that's Cody's next match. He's trading.
This thing's stuck on this bridge over here.
Cody Rhodes just Travis out.
And you know what'll happen in the middle of the show? They'll come out and talk about the new gate record that they just said.
Exactly. Well, shilling fucking Netflix celebrities that I've never even fucking heard of before. So this is Crossroads Travis Scott. Cena, at this point, he's there, and he tried using the belt, he grabbed the belt, and tried using this weapon. Rhodes yanked it away from him, this weird tug of war championship. Rhodes eventually takes the championship away. And then Cena starts backing him off, like, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. And then Rhodes, he can't hit him. He can't hit John Cena. So he'll stop there.
Wait for me there.
Of course. But they made him believe the first time he came across Cena after the elimination.
We need to talk, brother. You do realise it's over, don't you? Even if we make it back to Midgard, you and Balder destroyed the only gate to Jotunheim. We are out of options. And that boy up there, he's in 9 kinds of pain. His head's turned so far around.
Atreus is not your concern.
Well, he might become everyone's concern if you don't do something. You don't have to be the smartest man in the world to see that.
This was like Cody's, I guess, Roddy Piper moment for WrestleMania 8. Remember that part of the match where he got the belt? Yeah, and he got the chance to use it on Brett. He's like, but that was different though. Like he had, like him and Brett, they established going into that match. And, like there was like a family connection there. And, you know, Roddy's a babyface. Trying to do this. He's, you know, Brett's also a babyface. So maybe that's what they were going for here. But in this case, it just made Cody look. It made him look like a bitch. And he was losing the match anyway. So it was like a double blow. Where Cena had no issue kicking him in the dick again. But then it was just, dude, it was the way they did the pin. This is what some people don't understand. Because again, you get the criticism about how, well, you know.
Atreus.
I'm not someone who has an issue with winning 17.
Together now.
I predicted, when I did my predictions, I said I want 17. I feel like it would be fun to have even a shorter heel title run for him. So I wanted him. I had no issue with winning 17. Winning the match is not my issue. It's just the way that they did it was so underwhelming and flat.
We're free.
Especially for a WrestleMania main event, this big monumental, historic moment of him winning number 17.
We are going to get out of here.
Kicks him in the garage.
Face me, Father.
Outside.
It is time to end this.
Yes, my son. It is time. This will go down. Travis Scott played a role
It's that voice
in the
again.
outcome of this match.
You know who
John
that is?
Cena set the record for
I
17 World Championship.
do not know.
I didn't have so much of an issue with him being in Elimination Chamber. I know why he was there. He's a celebrity. Whatever. I'm fooled that he was there. I guess, you know, whatever. And Rock and Cena.
Hold on!
No excuse for him being involved in finishing this match. That was all. And the way they did the finish was all. Like it ended.
That was them.
Number 17, Augusto insists in Travis Smith. That's how embarrassing is that? And that's legitimately
He's dousing the fire. It's over.
Harpoon! I will free us!